Welcome back to the serious business of pleasure and play. I'm your host, Aria Skydancer, and I hope you deeply enjoy your time here and that you're inspired by these wise, skilled, and passionate leaders in the field of embodiment. Today, I am honored and thrilled to be having a conversation with Dr. Hazel-Grace Yates. Hazel-Grace is a relationship educator, conflict resolution specialist, and creator of The Art of Repair, a 6-step framework that helps people navigate conflict in ways that rebuild trust, deepen connection, and strengthen relationships. Drawing from over 15 years of experience in intimacy, communication, and personal transformation, Hazel-Grace has supported thousands of individuals, couples, communities, and organizations in turning rupture into opportunity. The repair process was developed through both their professional work and personal journey, and has helped people move from fear, avoidance, and resentment toward confidence, clarity, and meaningful connection. Hi, Hazel-Grace. Thank you so much for joining me today to share your expertise.
So happy to be here with you, Aria. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you. So you've developed a powerful framework to help us come back into connection after we've experienced the inevitable ruptures in our relationships. And you call it the art of repair. I'd love to first hear how this 6-step framework was born through you, how it came to be.
Yeah, totally. So my career started in the realm of my own sexual healing, and then I pretty quickly turned into supporting people around their sexual health, empowerment. And even though I was like sexually powered, my relationships were still a mess. And, I grew up with an amazing dad, lots of love, care, attention, and support, and also discipline by way of threatening, hitting, yelling, intimidation. And so I pretty much combined love with violence. And then I recreated that template for 20 years in these really painful relationships. And I was just like bound and determined in my lifetime to experience healthy, secure relationship. And part of that journey looked like having a healing repair conversation with my dad. And when I first approached the conversation, I said, can we talk about what it was like for me when you hit me growing up? And at first he said, I never hit you. And
Interesting.
Interesting, which means that I needed to go back and do more therapy after, doing a lot already. Anyway, so 2 years later, I had an attempt at another brave conversation. And I had shifted so much within myself and healed so much that I think that even though maybe he didn't shift or change much over those two years, the way that I came to that conversation is I was so healed within myself that I think it was safe enough for him to actually be curious and understand my experience. And I just said, hey, Dad, I want to say something about my childhood. Can you just tell me what you heard me say? Even though he doesn't know what reflective listening is. And this is important to say because sometimes when we're doing repair, especially for people who learn repair, you might be working with people who don't know how to do this. And so there's like a leadership aspect to it, to guiding and leading people into the conversations, and you like asking people how you want them to listen to you or respond to you. And so, I was astonished. All I ever wanted was for him to believe me, understand me, and get what it was like for me. That's really all that I wanted. And so he amazingly successfully said, Munchkin, what I'm hearing you say is that when I raised you and I was yelling and I was hitting you, you were terrified, and that you spent 20 years finding partners who reflected that. And that's partly why you were in these really unhealthy relationships for so long. Did I get that right? And Aria, like I said, that I never thought I was going to get that in my lifetime.
Well, I just got full body chills and tears were welling up. Like, that's amazing. How magical is that?
Yeah. Yeah, and not everyone in their lifetime will get this with their
Yeah.
parents. And so I give thanks to spirit, whatever happened to, that our souls and karma aligned such that I was able to get that.
Yeah.
Um, and I could, and it feels important to say this too, I could have done everything right
Right.
and still not have gotten that, which wouldn't have been on me. It's just like
Right.
that's just what happened, right? So
Right.
I'm not here to say, I have a methodology that's going to help
Right.
repair every single relationship every single time. That's not true and so, right? Because there's
Right.
two humans involved.
Right.
Um,
And there's an element of grace involved there. And yeah.
yeah, and grief,
Mm.
right?
Hmm.
Because if I show up and do everything, anything I can, and being in a good way, and I don't get the repair, at least not yet,
Right.
or that repair is not possible with that human being in this lifetime, then
Hmm.
what there is grief and like being
Hmm.
with and radical accepting of
Yeah.
like what's here.
Yeah.
Um, So that's really all that I wanted. And then he called me the next day on his own and he said, Hey, Munchkin, I can't go back in time. I want to show up for you now. And I want to pay for your therapy for the rest of your life.
Okay. I got more chills.
Yeah. And he's paid a lot of money, just so you know. And still therapy is still coming. I'm still growing and healing. May I never be done. Um,
Yeah.
so that happened. 6 months later, I met the love of my life, Nico Garvin, and we are celebrating 7 years of a happy, healthy, polyamorous, secure relationship. And something we learned in those 7 years is we're really good at resolving conflict. And
Amazing.
he comes from his system didn't grow up with a lot of trauma. Lucky guy.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Um, but I grew up with trauma and I actually had to learn and understand all the ins and outs and I found a way to
Mhm.
articulate what it is. And so anyway, part of the art of repair came through that relationship. Also, as a sex coach for 15 years, I kept seeing over and over couples would come and they're like, we want better intimacy. And I would find myself again and again and again
Mm.
supporting them and resolving the hurt that was there that they didn't know was there or didn't know was getting in
Yeah.
the way or didn't know how to move through it. And so I kept finding myself just doing that more so than the sex
Hmm.
coaching.
Hmm.
And then about 4 years ago, Spirit said, Hazel-Grace, you're going to write a book on conflict resolution. And I was like, okay. And I kept trying to write, I kept trying to write, and just like nothing came because Aria, every time I tried to figure out how to simplify this very
Hmm.
complex process of helping humans come back into connection after a rupture, I just got overwhelmed and like I just didn't know where to start. And I was sitting in a tree, in an oak tree on a vision quest one day, and literally the word repair just showed up in front of me, and it had every single word step in the whole process with this acronym
Hmm.
repair. Almost fell out of the tree. And I was able to write, the first book on it in the next 3 months. And here we are with this amazing methodology that I give thanks to the oak tree and my ancestors and my parents,
Hmm.
Bobby and Vicky, for everything they taught me and all of my teachers, and all of my hard work too. So all of that is kind of like the origin story and how
Hmm.
this process came to be.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so powerful. I'm again chills.
Hmm.
It's just amazing. What a beautiful story. And I love how you kept saying yes. And and I love how this just seemed to be so organic and destined.
Destined. Yeah. It was like one of those like choice, not choice. It's like
Hmm.
I didn't really have a choice because it just
Yeah.
kept coming to me.
Yeah.
But of course I had a choice and I continue to choose it.
Yeah.
And
And I love how it was born out of actually serving others and how it um, just kept coming alive over and over again for you in
mhm,
these real relationships
yeah,
with
yeah.
people.
And also just like a quick little celebration. So I was a sex coach, like I said, for 15 years, and it's weird in this field to market yourself. You have to hide, or you have to like say the right
Mm.
things here and there. And so I felt like my career, I had to do this. And so now all of a sudden I feel like totally liberated.
Yeah.
Um, I'm working with California State of Legislature. I'm working with the United Church of Christ, teaching their clergy, teaching at Tantra festivals. I'm teaching
Wow.
California education system. Like it's here it is. It is ready
Wow.
to pop.
Wow.
So
And that's amazing. That's amazing that it's just open, like it's just opened up for you. And I mean, it's so needed.
it's so needed. And I think the other thing is like this is universal. There's nowhere, no one who doesn't need this.
Right.
Friends, family. So that's the other thing I want to say about this process is it works literally with any type of relationship, parent to
Yeah.
child,
Yeah.
colleagues, etc.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you for
I
asking.
lots of chills. So I found it really interesting that you've said that you are still afraid of hard conversations after all of these years, but you love a good repair more than avoiding conflict. And I just find that so interesting. And I'm wondering if after all this time, um, the fear has somehow shifted in some way, or is it just still the same full brunt of the
Yeah,
fear?
sure. I imagine, I don't have biometric feed uh to prove how much fear is or isn't in my body anymore. I imagine that the fear has for sure gone down. And
Yeah,
to me, if I feel the fear or scared, to me it's like it's because this matters. It's because I
right.
love them. It's because the risk
Yeah.
of loss
Mm-hmm.
is impactful. It's like
Mm-hmm.
going on stage. I'm still terrified as a public speaker, and it's because it matters. And
Yes.
so, but
Yeah.
more than anything, I have expanded my capacity to feel the discomfort or to
Mm-hmm.
feel the fear, or I can witness myself say, Hazel Grace, I see that
Mm-hmm.
you're feeling some fear. That makes sense. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. You're okay. This
Mm-hmm.
is normal. This is part of the process.
Yeah.
So it's like training myself to be having bigger capacity to feel discomfort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also because I have so many years and years over and over of successful repairs, I can lean
Yeah.
on that resource to say,
Right.
even though it's uncomfortable right now, I trust that there's going to be gold on the other side of this. And
Yeah.
if I'm willing to just be in that discomfort.
Right. And you've started to see conflict as the opportunity that it is, right? The the amazing opportunity for deepening connection and making relationships more alive and juicy and all of that, I
Yeah,
would assume.
it's like there's a part that I've had this thought on beginnings of relationships where I'm like, I can't wait till we get into conflict to see how we show up. Because if I have trust in any sort of dynamic or relationship that we can
Yeah.
move through hard things together,
Yeah.
I have more security into our future. Because
Right.
as we know, conflict in every meaningful relationship is inevitable.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
understanding ourselves, opportunity for us to heal ourselves, learning
Hmm.
templates to how to show up better for one another. Like, for example,
Yeah.
one of the last step in the repair process, which I hope we'll have a chance to kind of go through the 6 steps. But
Sure. Yes.
one of the last step is called restore integrity. And the purpose of restore integrity is to restore the broken trust or connection that happened, right? So we're
Mm-hmm.
restoring that by these actionable ways. And one of the actionable ways to restore integrity is a thing called redo. So, and redo
Mm-hmm.
says if we could go back in time in
Mm-hmm.
our imagination
Mm-hmm.
and play that scene out Where are
Mm-hmm.
all the places that we, either one of us could have done something differently such that it didn't cause hurt or harm?
Mm.
And while we're going backwards in time, what it's actually doing is it's creating a template and a map for us in the future. If
Mm.
anything like this happens again, then we already have some ideas of what may work better than what we did in the past. So that's another thing. It's like, and cool, we have this conflict. Is there a way that we can learn how to love one another in the future better, with more
That's
ease and more
amazing.
grace? And
Yeah.
um, because it's funny, I'm doing the repair backwards a little bit. So the last step is restore integrity. The step before that is impact. And impact is what was it like for you when I did or didn't do that thing? You know,
Mm.
how did it feel? What were your sensations? What was the loss? How did it impact your reputation? What stories did you create? What meaning did you make? Those are
Yeah.
all the different ways that we can be impacted. And where I'm going with this is I can do the same action to two different people
Yeah.
and have totally different impacts based on their
Right.
systems and based on our
Right.
relationships. And so that's useful information for me to move forward working with them. And I'll tell you a very, very quick story about that. I had two best friends, two totally different timelines, and I'm having dinner with Chelsea. And I take my fork and I grab a bite of food off of her plate, which felt like was a part like that I thought it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
She reacted and got really mad and upset, and I was like, whoa. And she like was able to tell me, she's like, I didn't grow up with food in the house and we had to
Mm.
fight for our food, so it was like
Mm.
survival scarcity. So she had this really intense reaction. Now I know that I have a map for our future
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Chelsea
Yeah.
versus my other friend Colby. When I did that, his reaction, his impact was polar opposite, and he said, oh my God, I love that you did that. I feel so close to you. You're like my best friend. I love that we can do that with each other.
Yeah.
And so so what I am committed to is I'm committed to always taking accountability and responsibility for what I did or didn't do. I
Right.
take ownership that I did not ask permission to eat food off of their plates.
Yeah.
I'm also committed to hearing impact. Like I heard
Yeah.
Chelsea's impact, I heard Colby's impact. And
Yeah.
then I'm at choice of what I want to do with that information.
Yeah.
Not only my actions and my behaviors externally, but also internally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because so
Hmm.
Chelsea having this reaction, I could have been like, I'm such a bad human. How
Right.
terrible of me. Shame on me. I could have.
Right.
Um, or with Colby, I could have internalized it of like, I should do this with everyone. And of course he feels like that, right? So I'm at choice of how I want to respond. But and then again, I'm also at choice with how I want to make choices with that relationship moving forward. So for example,
Yeah.
if I, this is funny and extreme, but like let's say that in order to be my friend and have dinners with me, you need to be okay with me eating food without you asking. If that was like for whatever reason, then maybe I chose not to have dinner with Chelsea ever again.
Right.
And it's a silly analogy, but you could apply that with anything,
Yeah.
right? How roommate situation. Everyone's got a
Right.
different thing with dishes. How clean do you
Right.
want your kitchen? You're not
Yes.
you're not wrong for how you do or don't do your dishes, but how is it that you're relating with one another?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it seems like such an opportunity to learn about that person, become more intimate, and develop um, just some softness around that, what they experience, some empathy and
yeah.
understanding of where they're coming from. Such a beautiful opportunity.
Opportunity. Conflict is opportunity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I really love that.
yeah.
You know, it seems like a lot of us avoid conflict because it's scary, but also see conflict as a reflection on our relationship. So if we have conflict, it means our relationship isn't so good. Yeah. Seems
Correct.
like I hear that a lot.
Yeah. I'm more interested in how do you move through conflict
Yeah.
than if
Yeah.
you have conflict. I mean, it reminds me of the Gottmans. They do long-term research on relationships, and one of the things they found is that long-term healthy relationships, the thing to track is um, it's predictable that a relationship will have sustainability over long term if they have a 5-to-1 ratio of like five
Mm,
good moments to one challenging moments.
right.
So I'm not also saying like, yeah, if you have tons of conflict, it's always
Yeah.
good. Not everything in moderation. But
Yeah.
and if someone comes to me and they say they don't have any conflict in their relationship, I have red flags.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
my guess is that there's probably internal conflicts that are not actually being expressed, and that comes out somewhere at some point, somewhere, whether at yourself
Right.
or others, resentment,
Yeah.
coming out sideways.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you're not sharing yourself as
totally.
deeply with the other
Yeah,
person. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So with our time here, do you
yeah,
want to talk a little bit more in depth about your process?
yeah. How much time do we have so I can monitor that?
I would say we have 10 or 15 minutes.
Perfect. Okay, that's helpful. Okay, I want to talk about the repair process by way of sharing a story. And when I share the story, I will be doing each step and then we'll kind of go back to it and we'll kind of like look at each step. So, th this story, it was a festival. I, if you really knew me, I like taking my clothes off at any opportunity. So walking in the field in this morning and the sun was out and I was enjoying myself. And then this guy off into the distance yells, "Sweet tits!" And I stopped. I took a breath. I felt my feet on the ground and I checked in with myself. And I was like, what do I want to do? Do I want to ignore this person and walk away? Or do I want to go towards? And I'm essentially assessing my resources like, how regulated am I? How
Mhm.
safe enough do I feel? And I decided, I was like, I want to go have a conversation with him. Mind you, I am shaking. And the thought
Mhm.
of going to have a conversation with a random dude who just yelled at me and
Yeah.
middle of, no one else is around, was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I made a decision. I'm like, I'm going to go towards this person and have a conversation with them. And as I'm walking towards this human, I'm thinking to myself, offering myself empathy, like, I don't like being catcalled. That
Yeah.
didn't feel good to me. I that didn't
Hmm.
feel kind. It didn't. It did. I. It makes sense that I'm shaking right now, and I'm also being curious about him, empathy for him, which is like, you know what? I bet no one's ever had a conversation with him, or he's probably just playing out the script of what he's been taught that what's okay, and um, yeah, so I'm being curious about his experience. By the time I get over to him, he kind of checks things out and he's like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that." And he's like saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And that "I'm sorry" felt dismissive. That "sorry" felt like, "Go away. I want this to stop." It didn't feel like a genuine "I'm sorry." And so I said, "Are you open to hearing what that was like for me?" And again, he was like, and I asked him again, I said, "Are you open to hearing what that was like for me?" And he shifted and he was receptive, and I believed him and trusted. He was congruent with his yes. And I said, "When you yelled sweet tits, the impact on me was I was shaking, I was shocked, I felt hurt, and I felt upset." And he totally heard me. He took it in. And then he was like, "I'm so sorry." And that "I'm sorry" landed in me. And I actually
Yeah.
believe that he took in what it was like for me. And then I was satisfied. We said goodbye. I walked away. And then like an hour later, I'm walking by and uh incidentally I'm overhearing him have a conversation with his buddy and he was like, "I totally messed up." I got called in by this person and I want to show up better. So that is the repair process
Wow.
with a total stranger who didn't know what the hell. I didn't say, "Do you want to do the art of repair?" Like I
Yeah.
was able to do it in a way that landed with the language that worked for him, and it was 4 minutes. And the reason why I like sharing that story is knowing that you can do this with people who don't know what the hell the art of repair
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. That's amazing that something in you, I'm guessing it's the resourcing that you gave yourself, and your ability to be authentic and vulnerable and grounded, I'm guessing,
Yeah, all
helped
of those.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go back and review the steps.
Yeah.
So the resourcing, the f- resourcing is refers to your nervous system. So when I heard him say that, what I did was I paused, I felt my feet on the ground, and all of that was in service of resourcing my nervous system so that I
Yeah.
could check in and tune in with myself. Do I feel resourced?
Mm,
What
hmm.
feels like the safest, most honoring move for myself in this moment?
Yeah.
I think what the reason why resourcing is so important is I think a lot of people try and go have these conversations when they're super dysregulated, and
Hmm.
no repair is going to go
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
when parties are regulated. So we take the time first to assess, resource ourselves n- away from the person. You
Yeah.
can do co-regulating, you can get support, but not from the person that you're in the upset with
Oh,
conflict.
that's interesting. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, could people with really high level advanced skill and high capacity, could they
right.
regulate themselves? Yes. And my recommendation is that
Hmm.
you're resourcing, not don't go to the threat for your resourcing,
Right.
right?
That makes sense.
Yeah. So you resource yourself, and then empathy is the next step.
Mm-hmm.
And empathy is self and other.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I was saying, I was validating myself, like, yep, you don't
Yeah.
like being catcalled. That makes sense. That's okay that that didn't feel good. That's valid. That's true.
Yeah.
And this step is really important for all those healers out there, all those martyrs out there, all those people who are like, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's like
Right.
actually take the time for you to occupy and process and be with the impact. Uh,
Hmm.
and we also do that so that later in the process, when you do get to share your impact, that you've taken some time to kind of like crystallize and articulate what was the impact on me, um,
Yeah.
to make that conversation more efficient once you get
Right.
to that dialogue. So empathy for self, empathy for other, which is actually curiosity.
Mm.
The empathy for other, the goal is not to say, I now have full empathy for this person before getting to the conversation. The purpose of empathy for other is to humanize the other person, is for you to say, maybe I don't know what's going on over there. Like with Chelsea, for example, I didn't know
Yeah.
that she grew up with food scarcity issues. So you're being curious about the other person, like what might have been going on. Have they slept? Have they eaten food? Are they
Right.
sober? Like what's going on over there for that human? So that's empathy for self and other. And before I go on to permission, any questions or anything you want to say about the resourcing or empathy?
Oh, I just think both of those are so powerful and nuanced.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, if you remember me saying earlier, I was afraid, I didn't know where to start writing this book or like teaching
Yeah.
people how to do this.
Yeah.
There are 60 skills in the art of repair, which makes sense of why I didn't know where to start because it's actually
Yeah.
a lot of
Uh,
things going on
yeah.
each step.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say in each of those steps, there could have been, I mean, there's just so much going on in the human beings, and there could be, there are so many factors that could change what you
totally.
do in those steps, I would
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so once we've resourced ourselves, once we have empathized with ourselves and other, then we ask permission. And we're
Mm,
asking permission. The goal of the permission is to invite someone into the opportunity
mm,
for us to create something even better. And in this
mm,
story, I said, "Are you open to hearing what that was like for me?" And that's a very simple way to ask permission. Are you open to hearing what that was like for me? Really great question. I offer a 5-step permission frame
mm,
and very intentional of each step has its own reasoning. But the if I had been more robust with asking permission to this guy, I would have said, "Hey, are you open?" Headline the conversation. Are you open to talking to me about you saying sweet tits in service of understanding one another and like supporting one another to
mm.
feel better. So the desired outcome is number two. What's the gift that could come from this?
Yeah.
Um, in asking you this question, I reveal how I'm feeling. I use a charge scale like 1 to 10, but in this case, I would just say, I'm noticing kind of shaking and I'm really nervous and scared to have this
Yeah.
conversation with you right now.
Yeah.
I think it'll
Yeah.
take 10 minutes. Time is the fourth one. And then the fifth one is making the request. Would you be willing to have that conversation with me right now? So that's the kind of like more robust way to ask permission for a repair conversation.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That seems to just just um, provide such an authentic um, situation where people maybe can drop their defenses. Um,
Yes.
suddenly you have two vulnerable human beings face to face.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the first three steps, REP, and that's the preparation for the clearing the air, AIR conversation. So
Wow.
please note, 50% of the repair process is the preparation.
Oh, interesting. I believe it. There's something like even in my body, hearing those first three steps in the repair, where it was so moving to me. I think it
Mm,
really touches something that we all want
mhm,
in relationship. That
mhm.
authenticity, that vulnerability, that realness.
Yeah, absolutely. So then moving into the clearing the air, AIR, the next step in the process is acknowledge. And in this case, very simple. Let's acknowledge what happened. And it was simple in the fact that we both agreed that he yelled sweet tits. Like
Right.
there was not a
Yeah.
divergence of realities of what happened. And I will say that the acknowledge step is the step that is unique in the repair process, meaning this specific piece came through. And I think it's what's missing in a lot of other repair models. And it's also by not being able to get to be able to do the acknowledge step is really the culprit most unresolved conflicts. And so what the goal and the purpose of acknowledge is let's get on the same page
Yeah.
about what each person remembers happening.
Yeah.
And the goal isn't to get to matching realities because
Mm.
that's often not possible, feasible because we all have different perspectives
Yeah.
on realities.
Yeah.
Um, the goal is not about disagreement or agreement. The goal is to say, this is my reality, that's your reality. I believe you, you believe me. Our realities either match
Hmm.
or they don't.
Hmm.
And both are fine. Like it's okay if they match or if it's
Yeah.
okay if they don't match, as long as both people say, I understand your reality, I believe your reality. And when they match, I call
Yeah.
that simple shared reality, meaning
Yeah.
you have a shared reality and it's simple because they match versus complex, which is we understand each other's reality, but they don't match.
Yeah.
And so this is the magic sauce of the whole process. So we do all of that so that we get the what happened out of the way so that
Yeah. Yeah.
When we get to the impact, which is like the most vulnerable kind of like heart sharing, like I want you to feel empathy for me. We do all the what happened first,
Mm-hmm.
because if you go to sharing impact first and like I really want to be seen, heard, and understood about this thing, and you start sharing about how you feel about the thing, but
Yeah.
the other person is like, yeah, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
And so you're like arguing about what
Yes.
happened when what you were wanting was understanding and empathy. So we take care
Right.
of the what happened first, so then
Yeah.
we move into the empathy of the of impact. So impact looks like in this case, what I said to him was, when you yelled sweet tits, which was the acknowledge, that's what happened.
Right.
The impact on me is I was scared, I was shocked, I was hurt, I was sad, da 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 da.
Yeah. Yeah.
And him listening to me and really taking that in. So lots to say about impact, but this is really all five of those, the four previous steps before impact is actually
Yeah.
to prepare yourself for that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
To like really
Yeah.
have, because that's most of the time, that's what people want is just to be heard, understood, and believed. Like
Hmm.
with my dad, right? I felt that's all I
Yes.
needed.
Yes.
But all those steps before actually allow us to put our defenses aside, put our ego
Yeah.
aside, and actually have us be in that really generative heart space
Hmm.
and like
Hmm.
open to hear. Um, so that's impact. Yay, everyone understands everyone. Everyone feels believed and heard. And then the last step is called restore integrity. And this is like the polishing. This is like the cherry on top. This is like making it really, really thorough. There are five actionable steps or options, and this is a menu, meaning if you felt some sort of hurt, broken, you get to choose from this list of like what are the things you need in order to move towards a more trusting relationship. Or if, let's say, I hurt someone, I ate my roommate's sandwich and they were really upset,
Yeah.
what could I offer to support healing the trust in our relationship? So, very, very briefly, and we're gonna round it out here. There's remorse, so some sort of regret, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
take accountability. There's revise agreements. Are there any
Mm.
agreements we need to write, edit, update, revise? The next one is rewrite stories. And rewrite stories is in the impact step. One of the things we can own is the story I made up is you don't care about me as much as I care about you. So
Right.
in the sixth step, once we go through the repair, you're actually like updating reality. Actually, that story is no longer true, and I want to update it. And what I
Mm.
realize is actually how much you care about me, right? So
Hmm.
so you get to rewrite those stories so that we can keep each other current of how we're being
Hmm.
with one another instead of viewing someone from an outdated, unrealistic, or like yeah, an outdated story about
Yeah.
the other person. And then we have redo, which I kind of already talked about. Redo is if we can go back in time and do
Yeah.
something different, what would we do?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did I say them all? Remorse, revise agreements, rewrite stories. Oh, restorative actions. So restorative actions, that's some sort of act, gift, service. So the example
Mm.
I gave with my dad, he said, I want to pay for your therapy.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a restorative action.
Right.
And again with that one, he was the one who offered it to me. I
Yeah.
could have called my dad and said, "Hey, Dad, I want you to pay for my therapy." I didn't think
Right.
about that, but I could
Yeah.
have, and that's the point
Yeah.
with restorative action or the restore integrity. Those five, they're
Hmm.
bi-directional, meaning anyone can make requests or anyone can make offers.
Hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
ta-da!
And it's what a gorgeous process. And I do have a couple of questions. So in what the last one is, what does the R stand for again?
Restore integrity.
Restore integrity. If you have a rupture with someone who's not aware of this process, the art of repair,
Mm-hmm.
how would that work? How do you restore like they did something that impacted you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How would you go? How would that happen? How would
Yeah. So it sounds like in that case, if someone doesn't know how to repair or do restore integrity, there's
Mhm.
two ideas that come to mind immediately. One is you're the one to make the requests. So
Yeah,
make requests. What do you think you
yeah,
need in order and make
yeah.
create an opportunity for them to show up and make it right for
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
Or you can be a super nerd and you could pull out this framework and you can be like, hey, this is a
We have
framework.
5 options here.
Here, here's five options. Do you want
Yeah,
to make any offers? And part of that
yeah,
is, when people learn the art of repair, part of it is like you are taking on leadership in your relationships. If
yeah,
you
yeah,
are the one who has
yeah.
skills, knowledge, capacity, which
Hmm.
can be interesting as it relates to power dynamics, because
Yeah,
you being the holder of this particular process puts you in a potential like
yeah,
dynamic,
yeah,
and just acknowledging and naming that because it's two different things to be in a repair conversation with someone and also be the facilitator, teacher, guide of that thing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think it's helpful to acknowledge and name that if you are someone who's leading
yeah.
them through this thing that
Right,
don't know
right.
what it is. And that's if you're going to make it explicit, because there's plenty of times I am being the art of repair,
Yeah,
but I'm not verbally saying them. And
yeah,
I'm glad this came up because the reason why it's called the art of repair and not like the scientific dogmatic repair,
yeah, yeah,
um, it's not important that you follow the linguistic script. I have
yeah,
script suggestions, but
yeah.
the most important thing is, are you following the essence and the spirit and the why of
Mm-hmm.
each step? And
Mm-hmm.
are you using language that works for the
Yeah,
human that you're talking to or the group?
yeah,
Because this can be done with group too. Um,
right.
which, like I know like with nonviolent communication, sometimes people can like be like, well, you're not using the right language, or that's not a good word, or
Yes,
there's this like,
exactly.
you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Uh, that's going to shut down a repair.
It's totally going to shut down a repair. I,
Yeah.
I do not want to hear that in the middle of a conflict.
Yeah, you're not doing it right. You didn't say the right thing. That's not how you say it.
Yeah, you're not being nonviolent.
Right. Yeah.
And then I wanted to ask about we're just about out of time, but I wanted to ask really quick about the acknowledgement part because that seems to be a place that I have experienced in my relationships where we get in a big, hairy, it's like we can't even agree on what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So there's many prerequisites in order for people to utilize the repair in a useful, effective tool. One of the prerequisites is someone to, or all parties saying, I'm on board with the distinction or the concept or the idea that two realities can
Yeah,
coexist that are
yeah,
both valid and true and different.
yeah,
And if they can't get on board with at least that
yeah,
the repair's not going to work. And
right.
if if you're on the acknowledge step and someone's unwilling to believe your reality, the repair can't keep happening. Like you can't not.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is for sure the most complicated step, and part of it
yeah.
is because it's a risk to your ego. Because
Mm,
if I'm
mm-hmm.
asking you, Arya, to believe my reality that
Yeah,
does not align with what you remember happening or your
yeah,
interpretation of the
yeah,
event,
yes,
you're required to actually put
yes,
your reality aside
yeah,
and say, I'm willing to
yeah,
believe you, hear you, and get
yeah,
you. And that's way easier to do if you trust that the other person is going to do that for you.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
it also feels important too to say that the repair process is not appropriate for all relationships and all the time. If you are with someone who you genuinely do not trust is telling the truth or
Right.
genuinely wants to
Yeah.
repair or is
Right.
doing any sort of gaslighting or has some sort of like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
honest inability to have empathy for
Mm-hmm.
someone,
Mm-hmm.
in the
Right.
extreme cases, like a narcissist who weaponizes vulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
this process might not work for
Huh.
you. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying to always blindly be like, I believe your reality no matter what. You do that
Right.
with discernment. Like, I'm willing to do that
Right.
with someone I genuinely trust
Mm-hmm.
is going to show up in a good way.
Mm-hmm. I'm really glad you said that you brought out that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it seems like this is so, it just seems like a really transformative process that isn't just about getting through conflict.
No, it's a lot. It's also about boundaries, people having a voice to speak up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's asking for what you want, and also, and when I think about like in the realm of like sexuality and pleasure, like there's a way that because I trust myself to be able to repair, I
Yeah.
might be willing to stretch my edges or take
Yeah.
risks or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you don't you learn when there's a boundary when you've crossed the boundary. um
Yes.
and so it gives us this zone, our growth
Yeah.
zone, to like go just
Yeah.
beyond maybe our comfort
Yeah.
zone to be like, oh, that was too much, okay, but I can
Yes.
trust that I can repair. So to me it also
Yeah.
gives me like confidence and
Yes.
responsible risk taking.
Yes. It seems to be uh, very empowering. And it also, maybe you can get a little messy. You can play. You can discover. You can have a little more adventure
Mhm.
in your relationships, in your intimacy. And yeah,
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I am just so grateful that you took the time to be here with me and to
Mhm.
share this amazing process. It's just so powerful, and you are coming to my area, so I
Oh
I get to,
yeah.
yeah. So maybe I'll meet you in person soon.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
teaching the art of repair in Boulder, Saturday, July 25th, I think.
25th.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So come check it out in Boulder.
Yes.
And there's also on my website, there is an online self-paced course for folks who want to learn it on their own. I obviously do one-on-one coaching. I work with teams, organizations, businesses. And there's also a really fun quiz on my website, which teaches
Yes.
you about your conflict archetype
I
and
saw
creating a,
that. I
yeah,
saw
it's
that. I'm going
so
to take
fun.
that. I'm going to take
Great, great,
it.
great.
Thank you so much, Hazel Grace.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Such a pleasure.
It was for me too. Okay. Take care.